unburdened by what has been?
What can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been?
What we can see, what we believe can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been.
Going to my mind's going blank now. What's happening? What I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I heading? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. Last night on the television, I was on a telephone, rapidly rising, and with I don't know. COVID has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's lives reflected in the NHEI. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him in. We're going to seize the ill-begotten gains of Putin's autocracy. Yeah. NATO's purpose is to defend against aggression. Let me make near and dear to you that you would like to be able to. Anyway. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I heading? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. I don't think as the idea that political coverage. I want to thank and recognize Dr. John Kingersong. That song. I can't get this to function at all. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I heading? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. No idea. No idea. No idea.
Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that since Simonstown and Boulders, folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa.
Herzlich willkommen bei uns. Unser Bericht kommt heute aus Pennsylvania in den Vereinigten Staaten. Ich bin der Oberst in Retreat. Ja, ich bin Chris Wyatt und ich hoffe, dass alle finden sich selbst in guter Laune. Ich hoffe, das war richtig. Schon lange Zeit, ich Deutsch gesprochen habe. Ja, manche Fehler, die kommen, die gehen. Ja, was kann man sagen? Ist ja Sonntag. Heute ist der 28. Juli 2024 und ich grüße euch. Servus! Na, wie geht's? Allah. Bienvenue tous, je suis très heureux que vous êtes là avec nous pour notre transmission aujourd'hui. Nous sommes aux États-Unis, en Pennsylvanie, pour notre transmission des actualités quotidiennes. Bonjour tous! Welcome folks, servus. Hochhandet Südafrika. What's Hirijang Zanzi? How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the program. My mind is going blank. Indeed, it is for Joe Biden. Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theories running around now. It is interesting that Joseph Robinette Biden suddenly appears to be about 4 inches taller than historically he has been. We noticed that his wife suddenly either shrank 2 inches and he gained 2 inches by straightening his spine out, or something else is going on here. It's not an optical illusion. It's clearly a difference in height between Joe Biden and Kamala. Maybe Joe's standing up straight for once, but with that stick up his ass, it looks like he's been standing up straight for years. Yeah, so Joe Biden, ladies and gentlemen, here, okay, I have to do it. I wasn't going to do it. But I'm going to announce it today. This is something it's highly classified. People don't know this. This is a state secret. I'm going to share it with my audience. There's only a handful of people here anyway, so shh, don't tell anybody. But against the bots! Joe Biden is a fembot. Shh, don't tell anybody. Joe Biden is a fembot. Just ask Frau Verbissener. Joe Biden is a fembot. Donald Trump's going, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Seriously, folks, Joe Biden appears to be 4 inches taller than he used to be. If I was 4 inches taller, I'd have been in the NBA. I'm just saying. It's a shame. I'm only 6'2". If it would have made me 6'6", I could have been a point guard in the NBA. Shame. Bring us the clothes! The clothes! You only had one job, Joe, and you couldn't do that. You only had one job. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat before we get into the news today. We're going to talk about the economic freedom fighters. We're going to talk about the independent ally to News24 and this little spat going on, and talk about a few other things. Greetings to everyone here. If Ronaldo's in the chat, welcome to you. I don't know what he's doing today. Maybe he's here. It's a Sunday. Keith Alderson, welcome to you from Coventry. George Steinberg in from Heckport. Sandy Hunt in from the Cape Town area. Sandy, thank you for treating me, taking me to that burger place that night. Incredible burger, but the music was quite loud. Hard to hear you, but it was a pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to narrating any other books you've got if you'd like. I'll only charge you 1 billion rand. I tell you what, 1 billion Zimbabwean dollars. How's that? How's that? Terry Weistra says, good evening from the Northern Cape. Well, how's it Northern Cape? Is it cold up there? Not a lot of stuff around to keep the heat in. I've been to the Northern Cape. Finally made that trip a couple years ago in August 2022 when I flew to Uppington. By the way, it isn't cheap to fly to Uppington, folks. Man, they make it expensive. And by the way, Airlink, we're going to talk about Airlink. There's a bid to buy Airlink, or at least a portion of Airlink. That's a little concerning from my perspective. It's a profitable airline, well run in South Africa, and now Qatar Airways wants to buy into it, expand their presence into Southern Africa. I'm a little concerned about that, but there might be a benefit for Airlink if it's just a minority stake. They could gain access to the booking system and also get international tie-ins, which would allow people to book Airlink to go to places like Europe and Asia and Middle East, which would be fantastic for Airlink. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. Let's continue with the greetings here. Rebellious Ruth was here before the show was started, but I haven't seen her back. So Ruthie, if you're here, welcome to you. Charmaine is here. Welcome, Charmaine. Dropping a bucket, Arbot. Erica, hello, Erica. How are you today? Dylan Combrick, an original gangster there, dealing with the program a long time, always hanging out. Alan Kotza, Stay Curious is here. Keith says, he's talking about Rebellious with buttery gold. That sounds tasty. That sounds very tasty. Some buttery gold. It'd be like the Prairie Home Companion. Tonight's show is brought to you by Buttery Gold, the stuff you pour on your popcorn every night. It's a lovely thing as you watch a movie on your television. Be sure to put that 8-track in and listen to the sounds of success. Weekend Girl. Anyway, sound success. SOS. Dylan says Harris is a bot. There's Paige from Myberg. Hey, Paige. And Mark Myberg. Hey, both of them are there. Welcome to both of you guys. Sue Walsh, I almost missed you. Sorry about that. Smee again is back again. Patrick Green. Diane McMeekin. Good evening, Diane. How are things on your side? Allison Johnson's here. Trevor Bush. What a disgrace the Olympic ceremony was, but oh my goodness, it was a disgrace. Look, the hatred, the anti-Christian garbage that's going on around the world, enough. It's time to push back against this garbage. We've been dealing with this for over 30 years. I'm not a particularly devout Christian or someone that practices my faith or carries it on my collar, that sort of thing. But the disrespect that's been shown to Christians in America starting in the 1980s and is reaching a crescendo now globally. This was a sick, twisted, demented piece of garbage. If you can't promote your cause or your identity or your ethnicity or your sexual preferences without denigrating someone else, then shut up. Shut up. If it takes denigrating Christianity to promote homosexuality, then maybe there's something wrong with promoting homosexuality. At least by that lunatic in France. Wow, this is not even remotely surprising. The Chinese did a better job in their opening ceremony in Beijing. Much more professional. None of this garbage going on. Trevor Bush is here. Yep, that's who said that about that. And then I said, America can be described in one word. This message brought to you by Joe Biden. Charmaine says, what do you think about the stories that Sleepy Joe has told her? I think it's very suspicious. Patrick says, Trump lived, Joe got canned, and Harris is riding the gravy train. Well, not for long. She's way behind the polls, despite the fake media reporting, even the Wall Street Journal, that she's ahead in the polls. She's not in the head of the polls. She's not tied. In battleground states where it matters, she is trailing badly. And this despite a full court press and lies told endlessly about Kamala Harris. I mean, you know the fix is in when they're already, Kamala Harris is not the czar. She's not the border czar. This is made up by the Republicans. They just made this up. So let's listen in now to this garbage, a montage of Kamala Harris is not the border czar. That's a lie by Republicans. And then listen to the response from the same journalists and same media outlets saying she is. They're the ones who told us she was the border czar. We didn't make that up. It wasn't Republicans. It wasn't conservatives. It was the media and Joe Biden.
Quote unquote border czar. Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
She wasn't?
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some
border
backlash.
czar.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
She wasn't border
her
czar?
First visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
I'm so confused.
To counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
Well, she was.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Yeah.
So she wasn't the border czar.
No, she wasn't.
That's what Republicans
Come on, Jonathan.
Labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
But she's not the border czar.
She's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
She's up against people lying about her record, calling her the border czar. She's not the border czar. No, she's not. She's just a moron. It's the vice president.
Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
I'm so confused. What is she? Is she the border czar? Is she Willie Brown's main squeeze? What is she? I'm so confused, folks. Patrick Green, Hester Coates is there, and George Williams says, I also want to be able to imagine what can be unburdened by what has been. Well, I'm unburdened by what has been. John Hutchins in from Arizona. Welcome. And Petra says, Genant, Chris. Well, genant to you, Petra. Hey. And then Slippery Picker. Whoa, it's just jumped way up on me because I'm way behind in the chat here. Let me catch back up. Right. Sandy Hunt. I'm busy on number 4. Okay, she's writing book number 4. Excellent to hear. All right. Petra says hello to Ronaldo. Is Ronaldo here? Is the Portuguese soccer star in the chat? Or do you mean Ronaldo? Gotcha, Petra. Gun idea will be blocked by Air Service License Council. They have tried before. Yes. Well, they can let them get 25% stake. And you're right. The leftist, racist government of South Africa will keep investors from participating in airline, keeping South African businesses as minority interest. It's funny how all these big companies can go list elsewhere, and that's not a problem. You know, for instance, we see the Anglo-American list elsewhere on stock exchanges. Anglo-American Gold elsewhere. Yep. So Garrett Gillich is here. A. Moore is back again. Brian Lawrenson saying, is it true that Paris had a major powerhouse? Yes, it did. And the trains were stopped yesterday. There is terrorism going on and sabotage all over France to mess with these games. I think a lot of the results of these games cannot be considered valid because athletes have not gotten sleep. They've not been able to get to events. They've missed the start. They didn't have their warm-up time because there's no transportation. There's no power. This is truly a compromised Olympics already. And no one on the planet is saying that except me. It's a compromised Olympics. It's already affected the performance of athletes, and that's a shame. Yep. Miss Puma, good evening to you. Stephanie Hatzemichael says, 678, God shall not be mocked. Tired of this woke nonsense. 100%. Yep. Our bot is back. And then P cases, Paris is now facing blackouts, apparently attacks on the rail lines. Yep. The rail lines is already 3 days old. The power outages started last night. Borders, they have blood on their hands. Exactly, Stephanie. And Hendo's here. Good to see Hendo, our moderator extraordinaire. George Williams, America is living out 1984. Yeah, and South Africa is living on Animal Farm. I think you're right. The critical reviewer says confusion galore. Indeed. The whole thing is just bizarre, says RJ. Kevin Ziller laughing out loud. Smee again. She's burdened because she has been She's a has-been. Hey, Teresa Emil Therrett, welcome to you. Let them eat cake. Thought Hamas made threats as well. Well, Israel has struck back in against Hezbollah today. Yep, after they murdered 12 Druze Christians yesterday at a soccer field. And the Palestinian team is allowed to attend the Olympics wearing a shirt with an emblem that shows Israeli children being murdered by Hamas bombs. That was on their shirts at the Olympics. Meanwhile, Israeli athletes were barred from wearing a yellow ribbon to recognize the hostages because that was political. But wasn't the shirt promoting the murder of children on a soccer pitch by the Palestinians? Why is there a Palestinian team? It's not a country. That's what they keep saying. We're not a country. The Israelis are occupying us. We're not a country. We're not a country. Well, if you're not a country, you shouldn't be in the Olympics. Yep. Juju must be the pig, says well, he's one of them. 112 people here, 52 likes. Come on, folks. Don't be so lazy. Hit the like button. It's right below you.
That was easy.
Come on, so easy. Right, okay, let's start talking about the news here, which people probably came to hear. And welcome to everybody. Meanwhile, over in the Olympics, before we get to that, let me just check on this. USA is playing Serbia, and our $500 million payroll was being beaten by Serbia for long stretches of this game. I don't know if it's over now or if they're at halftime, but very poor performance by the U.S. Olympic team. Not very impressed by this anti-white Olympic team. Not a single white player on the team that I can see. They hate white people in the NBA and in the Olympics. But most of the players who are most of the athletes in the Olympics are actually white. South Korea is currently ahead in the medal count. They surged with 3 golds now and 6 in total. Australia in second place, knocked down 1 spot, 3 golds, 5 medals. The People's Republic of China, the commies, have 5 medals with 3 gold. France with 2 gold, 5 medals. Japan with 3 medals. And the United States in 6th place with this bizarre system they've always had where gold medals is what counts, not the rest. USA in 6th place with 6 medals, which has the most medals tied with Korea, but they're in 6th place because they have just a single gold. Underperforming thus far are the U.S. athletes. Bit disappointing, especially in the swimming. We'll see if they improve as time goes on. But that's a little bit of an update on the Olympics. It's unfolding as we speak. Should Palestine just observe the Olympics? Good question. Right, let's get to it, folks. All right, the news. First off, this story about the Independent Online. This is a bizarre story. Now, let's put this in context. The Independent Online, their Dr. Iqbal survey, and his Independent on Media did a YouTube video with Lindoy Sisulu, apparently. I guess that's who did it. It was unclear based on the way it unfolded. But a week ago, on Monday, Lindoy Sisulu claimed that she was not president in South Africa because of the Goulam MV account on Twitter. That account kept her from becoming president. Seriously? Seriously? What a clown. What an absolute clown. Lindoy Sisulu never accomplished anything in life except become a race hustler, and she is a disgrace to the memory of Walter and Albertina Sisulu. It took me a second to get her name there. Walter and Albertina Sisulu, true, genuine liberation credentials. Lindoy Sisulu, just a scumbag, leecher on, hanging on her daddy's coattails and never accomplished anything. Claimed that the Goulam MV account, which is criminal, she said, it's not criminal, it's free speech, nothing criminal going on there, kept her and others from getting advanced. So the Independent Line took up the cause and said it's their place to investigate this. And they did a video in which they revealed the phone number, the name, the place where the person lived, and they said this person is Goulam MV. This is the 4th time that supposedly Goulam MV has been revealed. None of them have been correct. This is Goulam MV. We're here, and his phone number is +27 zup 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 zup. He lives at zup 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 zup, and his name is Mohammed Borbro Vodwa. Problem is, he's not the guy. He's a KwaZulu-Natal University lecturer and a part-time comedian. And his life was turned upside down, according to media reports, across the media, and his own words. He even did a video. People threatening his life. He had to leave his home with his family. And people talked about castrating him, murdering him. And apparently his lawyers claim that there was a hit put out on him. A hit put out on to murder him because he's the Goulam MV account. This is how crazy South Africa is, folks. So the Independent Online, rather than doing the right thing, rather than writing a retraction and profusely apologizing and then contacting law enforcement and trying to make sure this person is protected and get the story straight, makes a 5-minute video in which they say they start attacking Goulam MV. They pause and spend about a minute saying, we made a mistake. It was a technical error. We said the wrong name, and that's unfortunate. We apologize for that. We've tried to reach out to our victim, but he has not responded. And then they went on to say, but we were right. We were righteous all along. We were correct at the IOL. We got it right. Goulam MV is evil and has attacked public figures and anyone around Cyril Ramaphosa. That's the real story here. What are the links between Iqbal Survey and Cyril Ramaphosa? What are the links between the Independent Media Group and Independent Online and the ANC and Cyril Ramaphosa? These are the investigations that the public would like to know about. We would like to know if there are any links there and what sort of cooperation there may or may not have been. That's what we'd like to know. Inquiring minds would like to know what's going on with the Independent Line, because not only have they done that, now they've issued another story and a press release from Survey in which he attacks the person who he doxed, the man whose life he put in jeopardy. He doxed. And now he attacks him. This is demented. And they claim that his attorneys are trying to grift the money from the Independent Line. You have harmed this man. You have admitted your fault. Pay the man. 1.2 million is a bargain, buddy. So what, $60,000? Nothing. You should be paying 190 million rand for destroying this man's life. I mean, look what they did to Alex Jones, and he didn't commit a crime for his opinion. Here, you actually did something that made this man a target, and his life has been put in jeopardy. His family had to be moved. There is a bounty on his head, purportedly. And your response is to double down? Well, this is the independent media. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me put this in perspective. This is the same media that has a race-hustling journalist who spends all of his time running stories to divide South Africans on race. Anytime he can put black up, black disadvantage, black being mistaken, he'll run a story on that without the facts and run it to the ground, and it gets headline attention on the Independent Line. He's the one that broke the story about the racist video from Ronaldo Gous. For the hate-wanking leftists and black supremacists currently watching the program, go ahead, push your dislike, write your ridiculous comments with your fake usernames on YouTube. We'll see it on chat. That's fine. But here's the bottom line. What Ronaldo did was immature, arguably. What Ronaldo did was inappropriate, definitely. What Ronaldo did was foul language, true. But what he did was not a crime. It also wasn't hate speech, and it wasn't directed at anybody. What he did in the actual video that was actually on YouTube, not the altered video that the independent media put online. The independent media put the link there. The independent media revealed an altered video and used it to make the false claim to libel Ronaldo Gous, a member of parliament, claiming he's a racist. Which isn't true. It's not true. It's ridiculous. If you know Ronaldo Gous, you know that's horse manure. Horse manure. The guy's a leftist, left of center, a member of the Democratic Alliance. Racist, not a racist bone in his body that I've ever observed. Utter nonsense. And this character assassination by this media outlet, that's the sort of behavior that they do. And now they've destroyed an innocent man's life because they're morons. And they're like, well, we apologize. So what's his problem? Seriously? What's his problem? Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks. This is just beyond the pale. And here's the story. Survey socks at News24, scrambling to cover their backs and divert attention from what is really at stake. Well, that would be the IOL. The subversion of democracy through the use of a network of disinformation operatives. That would be IOL. News24's nonsensical article written by a compromised journalist, Jeff Wicks. How is he compromised? How exactly is he compromised there? By the way, speaking of compromised, this is written by an IOL reporter. Who's the IOL reporter? Will it take us to see who it is? Let's see. No, it's just the IOL reporter. Follow me. What the hell kind of nonsense is that? Where's the byline, coward? Where's the byline, coward? Stand by what your claims are. Oh, no. No. We couldn't put his name down. We're anonymous. Look, you're not The Economist. You're a South African media outlet. Put the name of the journalist. Otherwise, we don't buy anything you say. So these people don't have the courage to put the name of the reporter who writes this story when they attack another reporter from another platform. Disgusting. They say that he's a compromised journalist about a lawsuit against the mistaken public identification of Mohamed Yaqub Vodwa by IOL Independent Media is a sign of desperation. Well, the desperation is coming from that man and his outlet. Whilst Mohamed Yaqub Vodwa is at liberty, thanks to democracy, to launch his legal suits, he should be advised that he now stands on a sticky wicket himself, considered no law has been broken. Excuse me? No law has been broken? So the Poppy Act allows you to disclose people's phone numbers on air? To tell people where they live? That's allowed? Are you sure about that? I'm not a legal expert when it comes to this, so you might be right, IOL, but somehow I don't think you are. And this is what they go on to say. Indeed, it is our contention that Vodwa's lawyer, Rupert Candy, is potentially aiming to extort money to the tune of $1.2 million from our companies, our editors, myself. We've informed Mr. Candy that we will oppose any actions. Okay. He says, I find it fascinating that Mohammed Yaqub Vodwa from KZN goes all the way to Santon to lay a charge. Did he first meet with Fikile Mabalula? Now that's slander and character assassination. What the hell does Fikile Mabalula have to do with this? This is supposed to be a media outlet. That's supposed to be news. It's on the news page. It's the headline on their banner. It's not put down his opinion. There's not even a journalist's name next to it. This is ridiculous. This is a blog. It's not a media house. It's ridiculous. Who runs this ridiculous outfit? They actually have a couple decent reporters. Those people should be ashamed they're associated with the independent line. It's not independent. It's captured. They are the ones who are looking in the mirror and repeating themselves by calling someone else what they are. If you're giving out personal information, photos of a person, that's against POPI Act. And that's exactly what they did. And he says no law has been broken. Then he says, be that as it may, the News24 apartheid propaganda machine is now... News24. Is this hitting a little too close to home, IOL? The News24 apartheid propaganda machine. Wow. When they start pulling out stuff like that and they don't capitalize apartheid, which is a proper noun, you know they're morons and woke leftists. Wow. They are devastated that we've exposed a sock puppet account of Goulam MV and Goulam Mohammed Vodwa's political handlers. In desperation, they're trying to intimidate my editors and I, and we will continue. It's my editors and me. I is not correct. You are in the accusative case. You are not the nominative case, dipshit. So it's not my editors and I. It's my editors and me. People can't even speak English, and this is the lead story on their website. Isn't even proper English. We will continue to expose them since these are without doubt matters of public interest. Well, really? Matters of public interest? Well, the matter of public interest here is what's going on at the IOL. It's clearly not a news organization. They give their owner the front page and it gets reported without a journalist's name and they attack a journalist in another outlet. That's ridiculous. He said the mistaken identification, Mohammed Yaqub Vodwa, the comedian, was just that. Well, first off, he's not a comedian, asswipe. He's a university lecturer. Show the man the respect. I don't know him, but I'll respect the fact he's got a job at the university. Even leftists I can't stand, they've somehow gotten there and they have the job. So respect that. But he calls him a comedian, which is a part-time gig for him, to discredit him. Well, he's just a comedian, you know. No, he's not. He's a university professor, asswipe. Yeah. So, he said, was just an error exposing him, for which independent media publications publicly apologized. Now, Vodwa declined to engage with the team directly to accept our apology, instead resorting to legal counsel and bogusly claiming various injuries. Bogusly claiming various injuries? Really? We've seen the screenshots. His lawyers have the information they've taken to the court about how his life is in danger. What's bogus about that? The bogus thing here is the conduct of the independent line. Unbelievable. In a legitimate country with functioning courts that weren't captured, this media house would go bankrupt because they've got a lot of lawsuits coming their way. A lot of lawsuits coming their way. Secondly, the claim that any of us have breached the Cybercrimes Act by revealing data is also incorrect. No data about him other than which is public available was ever released by our politicians or our editors or myself. Well, that's not true. Just because information is publicly available doesn't mean you can reveal it in aggregate when you target somebody. That's an illegal act. That's an illegal act. That's an illegal act. So he needs to get better lawyers. The facts are that our revealing of the true identity of the sock puppet X account, Goulam MV, Mr. Goulam Mohammed Vodwa, is to stop the subversion of democracy. The subversion of democracy. So this is their complaint. Goulam, which is a Twitter account, is free speech, and it has a record of revealing criminal conduct by members of the government, particularly the ANC. So let's go to X and see if I can't find if that account is still active. Goulam MV. Okay. Let's see. There's Goulam MV. All right. It has 127,000 followers. And so those 127,000 followers are what kept Lindiwe Sisulu from becoming president. Major revolution take place in Durban. Revolution take place across Durban. Lots of people feeling lots of angst right now about the government. Then here's Blade Nzimande, Julius Malema, and then Koji Senso Ramakopa, Julius Malema. Yeah, so this is the Goulam account here. And that's what bothers them, because they want to know who it is so they can destroy the person. But see, that's not the role of the media, folks. The role of the media is not to destroy private citizens. The role of the media is to objectively report the news and to hold government accountable so that it doesn't do evil things. That's the role of the media, the fourth estate, as so-called fourth estate by the French. That's their role, not to go out and expose private citizens because they're using free speech to expose corrupt government officials. Wow. Wow. Ismail Abranje, a former apartheid collaborator who's connected to the account, tried to convince us that Goulam was a born free. However, we know that he's a 49 years and has been a tenderpreneur, is a charlatan, extremely close to the president, the ANC Secretary General Fikeni Mabula, and senior members of the Democratic Alliance. And how is any of that actually a crime? None of that's crime. Being 49 is not a crime. Being a tenderpreneur is not a crime unless you've got an illicit contract. It's a nickname given to people who get patronage from the government. It's morally wrong, but it's not illegal. A charlatan, well, that's their opinion. And it's extremely close to the presidency. What evidence do they have of that? They don't present any evidence of how close this person is to the presidency, to Fikeni Mabula or the DA. It's comical to think that this Goulam account, which has been around, how long has this thing been around? Let me take a look. It's been around a while. That this account somehow Fikeni Mabula, Fikeni Mabula has something to do with it. That's just comical. So let's go to Goulam. It's been around for 6 years. 6 years. Fikeni Mabula was a nobody 6 years ago. So why would he be involved with this Goulam account? All right, so there you go. That's just insane, folks. More heads will roll. Julius Malema, in trouble with his deep pocket rich white donors who love to racially divide South Africa for God knows what reason, is now looking for attention and telling people that we will do better. You are supposed to break people's legs and make them come to vote. The preceding was sarcasm, just in case anyone didn't get that. More heads will roll where EFF lost votes, says Malema, as the party celebrates a dismal 11th birthday. EFF leaders of structures that lost votes are facing the chop. Leaders who fail to secure at least 10% in elections would also not be allowed to attend the party's elective conference in December. This is a party that hates its own people, not just white people, not just South Africans, not just the West. They hate their own members. Anyone who votes for the EFF should seek psychiatric care pronto. Yep, they are a bunch of wackadoodles. So, the EFF survived. Wow. According to Julius Malema, the EFF survived the terrible collapse. Well, that's what it was, a terrible collapse. He said they survived, though. They didn't survive. They got shellacked. EFF survived through election run against financed opposition out to destroy the Red Berets. Ladies and gentlemen, who wanted to destroy the Red Berets? Look, I know that the DA demonically, the EFF, they're always using the EFF as a boogeyman. But they didn't spend any money. They spent their money and their time and energy trying to defeat the ANC, as did Action SA, the Freedom Front Plus, the Inkatha Freedom Party, ACDP, and a host of other parties, including MK. They all worked to defeat the ANC, and it worked. It wasn't to defeat the EFF. But he says, comrades, you fought a good fight. There was money everywhere. Millions and millions were taken out. They wanted to destroy the EFF to the point where all the parties that were formed to fight the EFF. And official opposition, DA, declared a small opposition enemy number one, EFF. The Oppenheimers and Ruperts took out a lot of money just to stop the EFF. Folks, I told you after municipal elections in 2021 that the EFF was dead in the water. They're not going anywhere. They might gain some votes, but not many. They're not going to get 15%. They might get to 10 or 11%. They went down to 9.5%. So they lost 2% of their votes in the municipal elections, and it was clear to me the handwriting was on the wall. That was before the formation of MK Party didn't even exist, and I said the EFF is dead. This party will not exist after 2 more elections. It'll be gone. Julius Malema's cult of personality and his gravy train of corruption will end. His decade of no accomplishments, yet getting promoted by folks all the time. That's Ives Deki Mbambaka Libela. Well, that's an interesting username. Thank you for that, Yves. Okay, so... So, Julius Malema, his party lost 352,000 votes, folks. That is 18% less votes than they got last time. 18%. Nearly 1 in 5 EFF voters didn't come back. And he blames the DA and the Ruperts and the Oppenheimers. Do you know who's at fault? Aside from the EFF and its failed election campaign, focusing on universities where there's only a handful of votes, instead of going into the townships where the votes really are. They didn't do that. I didn't see the EFF. I was there on Election Day. They were nowhere to be found. A couple of their volunteers at a couple polling stations, half of them falling asleep, doing nothing. No leadership whatsoever. That's the EFF. And on top of that, you know who took their votes? It wasn't the DA. The DA did nothing. The EFF lost its votes to the MK party. Isn't it ironic? Julius Malema rose to fame as the head of the ANC Youth League. What a ridiculous organization that is, by the way. Side note, sidebar. Head of the ANC Youth League on the heels of supporting Jacob Zuma. And then he turned on Zuma and he was kicked out of the party, became famous and founded with undisclosed huge sums of money, which provide for his Breitling watches and his Range Rovers and his luxury homes and his $10,000 suits and shoes. Somehow that money comes from somewhere. It certainly doesn't come from his salary as a member of parliament, but the party gets founded and they take off the EFF. Strange, isn't it? But isn't it ironic now that Zuma is the one who's destroyed the EFF? They've stopped the EFF's rise and they've precipitated its decline. No one gives a flying flip about the EFF. They represent nobody except malcontents, thieves, and the victims of their nonsense. That's who they represent. Well, Qatar Airways is looking to close a deal for Airlink. The Doha-based carrier in talks to acquire a stake in a regional airline. Qatar Airways closing in a deal to buy a stake in South Africa's largest regional airline, Airlink, in the latest stage of the Gulf carrier's ambitious expansion across the continent. Two sides have held detailed talks about investment from Qatar, which is wholly owned by Qatari government. Yeah, so state-owned enterprise wants to buy a private sector company. I don't think so. Airlink is a good company, but I prefer FlySAF Air. I've flown both. Haven't flown Lyft or any of the other ones. Civic unrest in Joburg, folks, as people are unhappy with what the city's doing. Well, no wonder. A bunch of yakadoodles are running the city. Calls for overhaul of city leadership amid service failures. Well, not a surprise there. Residents of Joburg and representatives from various civil organizations protested against the city yesterday. The protesters presented a memorandum outlining several demands, including resignation of city leaders. Wow. City of Johannesburg Speaker Margaret Arnold's faced snipes and jeers as disgruntled residents organized by civil groups vented their frustrations over service delivery failures across the city. Scores of residents and representatives from the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Defend Our Democracy, Organization Undoing Tax Abuse, Action for Accountability, Johannesburg Intercity Partnership, and the Rivonia Circle descended on the grounds of the City of Johannesburg Council Chamber under the Joburg Crisis Alliance banner. Wow. They asked for a bunch of things: immediate resignation of the mayor and mayoral committee, review of the 200 Rand prepaid electricity fixed surcharge, an end to unplanned water cuts, emergency water provision to underserviced communities. Well, that's not going to happen because Rand Water can't deliver the water. So you're tilting the windmills, you're pissing in the wind, and you know what happens when you piss in the wind? You get covered in piss. So I'd recommend you stop pissing in the wind. An end to unplanned electricity, not going to happen. Decisive and consistent measures to combat corruption, not going to happen as long as the ANC is involved. Adequate and proper consultation with civil society. Don't count on it. They just listen to you and then do nothing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of the Independent Online, today's big story in South Africa is, what's today's big story in South Africa, folks? Anybody want to take a stab at that? What is the big story? Well, in Mpumalanga, they found a military training camp, which is more like a terrorist training base, full of 95 Libyans getting arms training and advanced tactics training. As I've long said, South Africa is a haven for terrorism. It is a logistics and finance base and a recruiting base for terror organizations around the world. Well, that's the lead story. Check out South African media. That's the story they're running with, or a couple corruption things. But the Independent Online's top story today, above the fold, the top story is the following, ladies and gentlemen. It's a heartwarming story, but it's wildly inappropriate. Meet two young black women taking on the white male-dominated wine industry. The South African wine industry has long been an area that's dominated by men of a certain age and color. But not for long. There's a new crop of young, black, and ambitious viticulturists on the rise. First-year proteges. First-year proteges, not accomplished winemakers. No, look, there's nothing against these young ladies. Congratulations to them. I wouldn't mind interviewing them and what their plans are in the future. It's fascinating. But this is not a top news story. This is a human interest story that belongs in the Sunday edition in Human Interest, not the lead story in a major media outlet. But let me continue. First-year proteges Lulo Bulo and Nompulepelo Mosaka are two examples of this change hitting the Stellenbosch wine industry. These two bright women started their winemaking journey back in 2019 when they participated in the Cape Winemakers Guild Developmenters Trust inaugural learner program. They took part in a 4-day educational trip. The program got them, as grade 11 learners, the introduction to viticulture. And so they went to university and they decided to get into viticulture. And so now they're doing it. Now they're involved. They're proteges. So what's next? 2 women have a huge desire to give back, contribute to their community. They have big dreams for their future, including international travel, studying further, and determining their own unique expression as winemakers. Well, that's awesome, and congratulations to these ladies. But this isn't exactly a news story for the top of the fold or for the news. This is a story for the back pages. So the purpose of that story is not to promote these women, which would be great, but it is to race hustle. It is to attack white people. That is the purpose of that story. That's what the purpose is, folks. Make no mistake. And it's right there in the very beginning in the headline. Meet 2 young black women. Oh, good things there. Taking on the white male dominated, evil white male dominated wine industry. That's what the story's about. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Why can't you say meet 2 young women, aspiring winemakers looking to make a splash in the wine industry? Or non-traditional viticulturists making a splash? Those are proper headlines. Why do you have to say young black women and white men? Because it's race hustling. And oh, by the way, they aren't the first. That's what this implies. Oh, they're like the first. They're the pioneers. They're not. Black folks have been in the wine industry since 1995. My goodness. Here, let me just show you 12 black-owned vineyards in and around Cape Town. This isn't all of them. Here's just 12. Yep, written by Jess Tyrell. There you go, 12. That's a beautiful photo right there, isn't it? Gorgeous stuff. Yep. So, the House of Mandela. As the name suggests, the House of Mandela is a Mandela family affair founded by Nelson Mandela's daughter, Maki, and his granddaughter, Tukwini. So, there they go. They sell wines. There's one. They have a Chenin Blanc and a Pinotage. There's a Chardonnay, a Shiraz, and a Cabernet Sauvignon. In the King Vusani collection. Well, there you go. Named after the Tembu Nation's ancestor. Check it out. So then there's Sesfikele wine. Exclusively female-owned black-run wine business. Wow. In 2010, they launched their Sesfikele. We've arrived in Isikosa. So they've been around for 15 years, not for 15 days, as the proteges have. Aslina. Aslina's founder and owner, Nsiki Bieli, is the first black female winemaker in South Africa. She grew up in a rural village in KZN before she was awarded a scholarship to study winemaking in 1999. So she's been involved with winemaking for 25 years, not 25 days. And then there's the Mhudi Boutique Family Wines. Mhudi Setswana for Harvester is the first entirely black-owned wine tourism farm in South Africa. 42 hectares of vineyard is positioned close to Stellenbosch. Look at that. The Bridge of Hope Wines. Wow. While doing research for her master's degree in business leadership, Rosemary Motsaya was so inspired by the wine industry, she decided to be a pioneer and make her own brand. The Magna Carta Wines, the brainchild of ex-investment banker Mpumi Ngalasi. Wow. He produces 10,000 bottles a year. 70% of them are exported. Bayeda, or Hail the King in isiZulu. Salutes King Shaka and the late Goodwill Swellatini. Latitha Wines. Sunrise in Isikosa is a black economic empowerment initiative that started in Stellenbosch. Kumusha. Zimbabwean born Tinashe Nkumbudoko worked his way through a grocery store to cutlery polisher to waiter to position open his eyes to being a sommelier. In 2013, he won Reaching Young Stars Best Wine Steward. And there you go. He started his own wines in 2017 as Zimbabwean in South Africa. Women in Wine. Women in Wine is South Africa's first ever black-owned wine producing company controlled and managed entirely by women. J9 Wine. The Seven Sisters Wine. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing new here. There are lots of black vineyards in South Africa. Lots of them. Well, the Blitzbach, who take a terrible performance into the Olympic competition, managed to eke out the bronze medal, having a 2-try lead and squandering it despite the Wallabies being down a player after Nick Malouf was awarded a red card, well-deserved, for a vicious to-the-throat hit, a charge with his shoulder. He was taken out with a red card, and that cost his team dearly. Nonetheless, they came back and scored 2 tries from the discombobulated, confused Blitzbach and tied the game at 19. Only a missed conversion by Roche kept the Springboks in the game, the Blitzbach. They got the ball back and they streaked down the sideline and they scored a try. Selvin Davids carrying the ball down the sideline and they eked out a bronze medal. Congratulations to the Blitzbach, but this was This is not their best performance. Great jerseys, though. Love the jerseys. The men and women have great jerseys. Sean Williams scored well after the final hooter had gone off to give the Blitzbach a 26-19 victory to bag the bronze medal. After South Africa taking what looked like an unassailable lead with Australia a man down after Nick Malouf was shown the red card, it looked like the game was all over. But 2 quick tries for the Australians turned the game on its head. Corey Toole and Henry Patterson each crossed the line and leveled it up at 19, but the conversion was missed. Wow. Zane Davids had a brilliant game with 2 tries. Excellent job by him. Well, 2 Olympic medals in 8 years, says Roscoe Speckman. This is pretty cool, and I'm very happy for Roscoe Speckman. He's a great Sevens ambassador. Congratulations, well done to him. I wish it had been a gold, though. Roscoe Speckman claimed a 2nd Olympic medal in Paris. He was part of the South African squad that won the bronze in Rio in 2016. Congratulations to Roscoe Speckman and to the Blitzbox. Turning our attention to Tunisia, where the coup plotter who suspended parliament illegally, Kais Saied, will run for re-election. The 18,000-year-old piece of human feces, Kais Saied, announced his bid for re-election amidst turbulent first term. The birthplace of the Arab Spring has become, under Said's presidency, the scene of an authoritarian toughening, raising fears of return to dictatorial practice. Not return, it's already there. Tunisia's President Kais Saied said on the 19th of July that he will run for a 2nd term, making a long-expected announcement as many of his potential opponents languish in prison on charges that have been described as politicized. Says he's 66. He's not 66. That guy's 84. Something like that. He's not 66. That's nonsense. Well, Italy is the last Western ally of the corrupt military junta that overthrew the government in Niger. The junta that seized power in Niamey a year ago has entered into partnerships with Russia, Turkey, and Iran. Rome, whose diplomatic efforts are focused on controlling migratory flows, remains an ally of the Pushas. Isn't that interesting? French and Americans and now Germans. On July 6th, Berlin announced that it withdrew the last of its 38 soldiers from Niger by August 31st. Since the coup on July 26th of last year, Western soldiers have been leaving the country, once considered by the Western ally in the fight against jihadism in the Sahel. However, one country is still there. One Western presence remains unscathed for the time being, that of Italy, which has continued its bilateral support since 2018. Around 250 Italian military staff are present in Niger. Well, 10 people killed in a rocket attack in the Golan Heights. 10 teenagers and young adults have been killed and dozens injured after attack hit a football pitch in the Israeli Golden Heights. The Israeli Defense Forces said a rocket fell on the Majdal Shams area of the territory. The strike was the deadliest in the region since cross-border exchanges between Israel military and Hezbollah escalated when Israel and Hamas began the war in October. IDF blamed Hezbollah for the attack, but Hezbollah spokesman said any relation to the accident, Shams, they denied any in relation to that. So they said all of them are false. 25,000 Druze live there, and they were all Druze that were murdered by Hezbollah. Well, congratulations to Les Bleus of France. They have won the Olympic gold. A team that never qualified for the medal round in the previous 2 sevens in the Olympics made it all the way through, beating Fiji in an epic game. Antoine Dupont was the rock star, setting up 1 try with a huge line break, gaining about 50 meters before offloading, and then scoring 2 tries to get a brace of tries on his own. Wow. France inflicted a historic 28-7 defeat on 2-time Olympic champions Fiji in a pulsating Rugby Sevens final yesterday, giving the hosts their first gold of the Paris Games. Dupont, seen by many as the world's best 15-a-side player, no he's not, came off the bench to mastermind an extraordinary second-half performance, saw him score twice, and create another try for Fiji's first ever Olympic loss. Fiji was 5-0 in this Olympics and had never lost in the previous 2 Olympics, and now they've lost. Got to be heartbreaking for them. French rail traffic still snarled yesterday. After sabotage, it will not return to order until Monday. 7 out of 10 trains were running normally yesterday on the 3 lines that were hit by coordinated attacks, but there are still trains that are offline in France. Thousands joined Tommy Robinson in a march against global nonsense in the UK. Thousands of supporters of Tommy Robinson have filled Trafalgar Square after a march. He claimed the event was the biggest patriotic rally the UK had ever seen. The counter-protests by Stand Up to Racism and former Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn's Peace and Justice Project also took place. The Met Police said a major operation was in place to keep the peace between the 2 protests amid fears of serious disruption. A trans pride event was also held in the capital. Amid a sea of England and Union Jacks flags, Tommy Robinson's supporters listened to speeches attacking immigration and promoting patriotism. He received, but they put patriotism in quotes, the BBC, because they're a scumbag leftist publication. Patriotism is not a fake word. It's genuine. Yep. By the way, the Met had 1,000 police present. But when little girls are sold or coerced into sexual slavery by South Asian men in the Midlands for well over a decade, over 3,000 girls as sex slaves, prostituted out, sold, raped repeatedly, filled with drugs by South Asian men. When these crimes were reported to police, they ignored it. They took no action for over a decade. The lives of thousands of young girls destroyed. There weren't thousands of police out there checking into that. Nope. But they do go to one where white, Christian, English, and Brits go to a rally. Apparently they're a threat in a white Christian nation. Tommy Robinson could face jail over screening a video. He is accused of contempt of court for making a documentary in which he repeats what The Guardian says are false claims. Tommy Robinson could face jail time after screening a documentary against high court orders. The film silenced repeated claims he made about a Syrian refugee that led him to losing a libel case. Robinson is due to appear at a high court hearing on Monday, accused of contempt of court for making the documentary. So that's what The Guardian is saying he's arrested for. That seems very plausible. His supporters are saying that Tommy Robinson was arrested under the counterterrorism laws. Tommy Robinson is arrested under anti-terrorism laws after Trafalgar Square rally. Now, that's what they say. I don't know that that's true. Yep. He posted a 1 hour, 45-minute video film on X, which he said he previously avoided publishing the video because he was scared. So we can confirm that Tommy Robinson has been detained by police using powers afforded them under the Terrorism Act 2000. That's right. You read it correctly. Tommy is being held by police using counterterrorism legislation. I don't believe that to be the case. I think that the media is being misled. It would appear that he was arrested for violating a court order. I'm not an expert on that, but we shouldn't be dishonest and mislead people. Tommy Robinson's cause doesn't need people to lie and mislead. A New York church is going all the way to the Supreme Court about an abortion ruling. In May, the New York Court of Appeals upheld the state's requirement that employers provide health care insurance that covers abortions. With this violates religious tenets. This has already been settled by the Supreme Court. That law is illegal. New York has violated the Constitution and the precedent set by the Supreme Court. These are out-of-control rogue states. New York is one of them. A Roman Catholic diocese is appealing to U.S. Supreme Court and New York Appeals Court ruling requiring religious charities to provide abortion coverage in their employee health insurance packages. Lori Wyndham, Vice President and Senior Counsel at the Becket Fund for Religious Liberty, confirmed during an online press conference on the 25th that the Roman Catholic Diocese of Albany is preparing a petition for certiorari, or review, to be filed in the coming weeks with the Supreme Court. The case is Roman Catholic Diocese of Albany versus Harris. Adrian A. Harris is Superintendent of the New York Department of Financial Services. Yep. In 2017, the department issued a regulation requiring employers fund abortions through the employee health insurance plans. We've already determined that this was illegal, the Supreme Court decision, so why is it even in effect? Former January 6 prisoner details the horrors and abuse in American prisons inflicted on American citizens guilty of trespassing. Former prisoner John Strand, released from January 6, hell on earth by Supreme Court ruling. Sentenced to 32 months in prison, largely on a felony conviction for corruptly obstructing an official proceeding, he said he was tremendously grateful to God for his release. Freed on July 24th from federal prison in Louisiana thanks to a June 28th Supreme Court ruling that knocked out the top charge against him. He said his time in federal prisons, lockups in Miami, Florida, and Oakdale, Louisiana was something you would not wish on your worst enemy. His release was facilitated by a Supreme Court ruling in Fisher v. United States, which the court severely restricted the use of white-collar corporate fraud statute against protesters on January 6th. He was abused in prison repeatedly. He was thrown in isolation. Strand was thrown in solitary confinement twice in 2023. The second instance came after Marjorie Taylor Greene publicly spoke about his case and how he had been tortured behind bars in Miami. They put me in this interrogation room and grilled me about this like I had something to do with it, like a scene out of the movie, and then threw me back in. I wasn't seen again for 3.5 months. He didn't even talk to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene mentioned his case, and so the jailers abused him and threw him into solitary confinement. Where are the Human Rights Watch? Where is Amnesty International? Where is the United Nations High Commissioner for this topic? Where are these people? No one's speaking out against these inhumane abuses. How can this happen in this country? This is happening in this country under the control of demon rats. It's unacceptable. He was tortured for 4 months, blocked from access to his attorneys. He couldn't see his attorneys. That's illegal. He was blocked from access to any information about what was going on and why it was happening. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. Usha Vance, the ambitious wife of J.D. Vance, apparently didn't like Trump. She told friends Trump appalled her, but now she's working to elect him. She found Trump's actions on January 6th deeply disturbing. Well, then I submit to you that Usha Vance is a pretty stupid individual. A moron, just like her husband, and a bad decision to put him on the ticket with Trump. But ambition and devotion to her husband ultimately drove her to place in the former president's campaign. So here's another likely treasonous bastard in the Trump camp. Watch these people. During her rise through America's most prestigious schools, law firms, and judicial clerkships, Usha Vance rarely, if ever, volunteered her opinions on the nation's partisan politics to friends and colleagues. But she did express revulsion at former President Trump's actions on January 6th. She told friends she was outraged by Trump's incitement of a deadly riot. Trump did not incite a deadly riot. There was no deadly riot. There was a riot. It was facilitated and promoted by Nancy Pelosi and others for their failure to secure the Capitol building that day. And the only people injured in it were protesters. Her view at the time contrasts with the later pronouncements for husbands. Usha found the incursion on the Capitol and Trump's role in it to be deeply disturbing. She was generally appalled by Trump from the moment of his first election. Okay, so there we go. So there's the truth. The moment he was elected, she didn't like him, not just January 6th. Yeah, okay. Well, just like her husband, no thanks. Don't trust people like this. Kamala Harris raises $200 million. That's right, folks, $200 million. And it could be used to fix streets, roads, build housing for the homeless, feed hungry children, deliver vaccines. $200 million. Kamala Harris has raised $200 million for a White House bid in less than a week, as the vice president hopes that the surge in funding will boost her chance against Trump. Wow. The money dried up, and that's why Joe had to go, so the money could keep coming in. However, bad news for Kamala. Most of the media reporting fake polls and lying about what's going on, claiming she's even with Trump. But she's been dealt a triple blow in swing state polling 1 week into her campaign. Now, this is from Newsweek, not exactly a leftist. It is not exactly a right-wing publication, it's a leftist, excuse me. Vice President Harris lags behind former President Trump in several recent polls in taken in swing states. Yep. Lots of polls. You've got the Emerson College polling, the Wilson Strategies polling, Redfield, Wilton, Clean and Prosperous America PAC survey. And in these polls, she's in trouble in Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida, and Michigan. So don't believe the garbage you're seeing in the mainstream media. That's from Newsweek. They're honest about it. Well, Vice President Vance rips Harris for denigrating his fealty to the nation. This is a former Marine. Vance rips Harris for questioning his loyalty to America and says, "What the hell have you done?" She claimed in a short video that he is loyal only to Trump, not to our country. In a 45-second YouTube video posted on July 16th, she said that Vance would be loyal only to Trump, not to our country, and a rubber stamp for Trump's agenda. He countered his attack on his character Saturday. He said, "Now, I saw the other day Kamala Harris question my loyalty to this country." That's the word she used, loyalty. It's an interesting word, semper fi, loyalty. That doesn't mean loyalty. It means always faithful. Because there is no greater sign of disloyalty to this country than what Kamala Harris has done to our country's southern border. He didn't stop there. And I'd like to ask the Vice President, what has she done to question my loyalty to this country? I served in the United States Marine Corps. I went to Iraq for this country. I built business for this country. And my running mate took a bullet for this country. So my question to Kamala Harris is, what the hell have you done to question our loyalty to the United States? The crowd roared with applause. And there you go. Spot on. Kamala Harris has done nothing except leech off of society and sleep with Willie Brown when he was married. That's all she's done. The United States has launched a new military operational command in Japan, in Tokyo, to counter China. American forces in Japan will be overseen from a headquarters there as Washington tries to strengthen its allies in Japan. Wow. The new American command, which will be led by a 3-star general, will coordinate military operations with the Japanese, plan joint exercises, and participate in the defense of the country if hostilities erupt. In doing so, it will put America's fighting capabilities under the command of a headquarters on Japanese territory for the first time and dispense with the need for U.S. forces in the country to wait for instructions from Indo-Pacific Command, which is located 3,500 miles away in Hawaii. Wow. The move is intended to keep pace with Japan's military buildup, America and Japan forming a powerful bulwark against Chinese aggression in Asia. Wow. Interesting stuff. Kamala Harris, according to this puff piece, here you go, this is what's going on, the free media and the lies. Kamala Harris, disguised as news in the New York Slimes, Kamala Harris is known as for her personal touch and tough talk. Heads of state and diplomats who have interacted with the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee say she uses humor and talk of food to help leaven hard discussions. In more than 30 interviews with officials on 4 continents, including foreign heads of state, senior diplomats, and activists who have personally interacted with her, a consistent picture emerges. She can be many things at once: warm but steely, on occasion authoritative but personable. Seriously? Seriously, Kamala Harris? Oh, please, spare me. That story I told you about the man who was convicted and sent to prison for 30 years on the testimony of a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old with no forensic physical evidence, no ballistics evidence whatsoever, was going to be released. But apparently, he's still in jail. Shocking. Christopher Dunn spent 34 years in prison before his conviction was overturned. However, the state has appealed. They want to keep him in jail. Wow. Missouri Department of Corrections finalizing his release. The warden got the call. The state Supreme Court had halted the release order after the state attorney general appealed to keep Dunn in prison. He was literally 50 feet from prison. Why in the world would the Supreme Court keep him in prison when his case has been overturned? Let him out of prison while the appeal is there. This is shameful. This man has spent 34 years in jail on what appears to be cooked up evidence. Wow. Unbelievable. It's just crazy. Just crazy. Anyway, folks, that's the news for today. How y'all doing? We got about 108 people still here, 107 likes, no super chat revenue, and no new members. The end of the month is approaching, and we are not even a third to the revenue we had last month. Bummer. That just sucks buttermilk, folks. That sucks buttermilk. Anyway, just looking to see. I thought I had a note here. Let me see real quick. Yep, anyway. So Elsa Famulin says, okay. Photos circulating of the Paris power outage with Sacré-Cœur Church being the only place that are lit up. Okay. Pelosi needed to be retired long ago. Well, I agree with that. About 35 years ago. Sad to see billions of liters washing the ocean, and come summertime, Cape Town runs dry again. Yeah, they should have storage for that stuff. Okay, French did apologize, but I think they should have prevented it in the first place. The apology's not accepted. Somebody's mowing. The French should never allow that in the first place. Court order is to block Tommy from showing silence. Exactly. So exactly, Keith. But his people are claiming that it's under anti-terrorism, and I don't think that's true. Yep, Tommy was arrested and he's in jail. That's correct. Well, I think he does it just to get attention, just to get people excited. Patrick says, been over a month. I just did a 4x4 trip around Botswana, Okavango, and the salt pan. Sure, as you know, you live there. Finished Salt Vic Falls and Pina. Well, Patrick, that's pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible. I've done that many times. I've been very unique perspective when it comes to the Okavango. What's this? Hang on a second. Okay. All right. This is nonsense I'm getting here. So I have driven through the Okavango on a 4x4. Went to Moremi Game Park. Came back. I have stayed in the Delta. I have driven. Then I've flown over it in a helicopter for like 2-3 hours with the Botswana Defense Force. That was incredible. And finally, I've taken advantage of the fact that I had a Botswana residency permit as a diplomat and got into a camp for free for a few days when I went up there. So I've stayed in one of those ritzy camps for free, and I've driven through it. That's when you stay in those camps. You fly in, you land at a dirt strip, and they take you to your lodge. Done that, flown over it for almost 3 hours, and then also drove through it. So yeah, the Okavango Delta is a World Heritage Site. It's a brilliant place. Absolutely brilliant. People should check it out in their lifetime. Don't miss that. That is definitely a bucket list thing, is the Okavango. You really got to do it. The Serengeti is also kind of a bucket list thing too. Yep. All right. PK said, it really amazes me how people are brainwashed. They talk about a capital attack like it was the worst thing ever. They put grannies in prison. Yeah, no, PK, they talk about that, and you saw Kamala Harris, the worst incident since Pearl Harbor. Are you serious? Or no, she didn't say Pearl Harbor. What did she say? Anyway, but actually ridiculous. It's 9/11. January 6th was nothing at all like that. These are lies perpetrated by the media and politicians for personal gain. People committed crimes. Trespassing, property damage, and menacing, perhaps, some people. But most of those people didn't do anything other than trespass. All right. French did apologize. I got that. Okay. All right. My area will be -4. Ooh, that's nice. Daughter designed the Springbok Olympics jersey. She did this one, Erica. I want one. XXL large. Tell Ruth I need a XXL large. Get me one of those because I can't find them on sale anywhere. Eric, are you still here? I want a jersey. I want a jersey. I'll pay for it if it need be. Anyway. What else? Unburdened by what was, yeah. The reporter must have interviewed her PR person. Exactly. Make Snowden the FBI director. Yeah, there you go. When Kamala cackles, it's only because she doesn't have a clue what to say. Exactly. She's killing time. She's killing time. South Africans are also broke. Yeah, I know they are. See how many super chats I got? They are broke. No, Kamala's not black. She's Sikh Indian and Bahamian, which is mixed race. French had a man as first lady. Why would they care? Okay. Yeah, let her speak. She spoke. What's this one? She just spoke. This is comical. Let me find this one she just did. Here you go. Okay, this is Kamala Harris. Hopefully you can hear this because the sound is really low. So this is Kamala Harris. Okay, Kamala Harris. This is her speaking now that she's running for president. Alejandro Mayorkas is standing behind her. Let's see if you can hear it.
I am meeting with a lot of folks, and the work that we have begun is the work that is going to be ongoing. There is no question, and I said this from the very beginning, that our approach to this issue has to be with a commitment to a long-term investment, and it has to be a commitment to consistency. The United States has to be consistent. There were times when we were more engaged and we saw good results, less engaged, and we can see where the work and the partnerships then deteriorate. So I am committed to ensuring that we engage in an active way on the root causes, on addressing the cause and effect, and also being partners in the Western Hemisphere, understanding that we have a responsibility, and if we ignore that responsibility, it will visit itself upon us in a very domestic way.
What you talk about, Willis? What the hell was that? What we need to send is her back to the shithole city of San Francisco, which really is a shithole city. I've been there. Feces in the street, downtown, right next to ritzy shops, which aren't there anymore, by the way. They're all gone. All the great shops have left. Everything's left downtown San Francisco. It's a collapse economic mess because of the politicians that run it. More concerned about having gay pride than they are about having public safety. Nothing wrong with having gay pride, but your focus should be on public safety and a functioning city. Let private organizations organize gay pride. Charles is not a beach person. Neither am I. What's your policy, Kamala? Stop your BS. Exactly. Word salad. She never says things that make sense. Imagine how her husband must feel. 27. Poor guy is still trying to figure out what she said on their wedding night. Sounds like Durban, yeah. Oh, San Francisco, in many ways, is like Durban. Both on the ocean, both cesspools, both have feces on the streets, both have garbage everywhere, both have drug addicts lying around. Yep. Elsa Vermeulen, knee pads. Speaking just in the press, again, like they're second graders. Yeah, it was comical. She has no policy. Yeah, and they're trying to convince us that she's tied. The Wall Street Journal is a captured publication. So sad. What was once a venerable publication. Let me go see what their headline articles are today. Wall Street Journal. Okay, Fed rate cut. Elon Musk broke with Biden and Democrats. Pro-Gaza. Okay, they took down that stuff. So Yeah. Apparently Simone Biles did very well at the Olympics. In fact, let me take a look. I had basketball earlier. Let's see what's still going on over there. Oh, shoot. I just missed it. It looked like there was, what was that? Nope. Come on. What was it? That was the game earlier. So that's already over. It was the basketball. Okay. So the USA must have beat Serbia. Yep. And they have an overhead shot of Paris now. I'm looking at here. The eternal, that's Rome is the eternal city, excuse me. Yeah, Paris is the city of lights, right? Yeah, Paris. Saint-Germain, okay. That's where the soccer is being played. Ici, c'est Paris. Yep, it sure is. Saint-Germain. Been there before. Yep. Interesting place. Hard to get to. Man, that was a pain in the butt to get to that stadium. It's not near anything. And the public transport's not even next to it. Very frustrating. Paris, well, overhead view from a helicopter flying over the City of Lights. Yeah, not a fan of Paris. I don't know why people find it so fascinating. It's not that impressive in my book. Just saying. Let's see if there's been a medal update. Australia's back in the lead now. They've got 4 gold medals with their 6th medal, so they're the only one with 4 gold medals. USA still languishing in 6th place with a single gold medal, but 6 medals total. South Africa with a single medal, and that is their bronze. So they're at the bottom of the medal log. Moldova has a bronze. Mexico has a bronze. India has a bronze. Hungary, Spain have a bronze. Sweden has 2 now. And Tunisia has that silver. So, wow, country's starting to get some medals. Congratulations to the others getting their medals. Yeah, Simone Biles apparently did well in gymnastics. She's been around forever, so. Deadpool and Wolverine rakes in $205 million in domestic ticket sales. Wow, didn't even know that movie was out. Deadpool and Wolverine. Anyway, but usually they have nonsense about Kamala Harris. But let me look for politics. I'll go there. Maybe that's where it's at. It was on the front page. Republicans preach unity in Milwaukee but come home to a mess. What mess is that? Crypto barons are coming to Trump big time. They think Trump is going to do something great with crypto, so they're all coming to him now. Interesting. I did watch that movie Extraction last night, and then Extraction 2. Whoa, those were good, man. I mean, I made a mistake. When I watched John Wick, I quickly realized I need to do a body count, and I did it when I watched John Wick, and then every movie after I did a body count. But this movie, Extraction, I realized about an hour into it, I should have been doing a body count. My goodness. That was unbelievable. Chris Hemsworth, Extraction, and then Extraction 2. I watched the second one. Those were action movies. Also watched the Mission Impossible Part 1. That was a darn good film. I was actually very impressed by it. And even the outlandish stunts were kind of believable. Wow, I was really impressed. Really impressed. I didn't know. So is it a Deadpool movie with Wolverine in it? Or is it a Wolverine movie with Deadpool? I think it's a Deadpool movie. Dirty and overpriced food, arrogant locals. Oh, France, yeah. No, Paris, yeah. No. Overpriced food, overpriced accommodation, snarled traffic. You can only take public transport, and it's expensive. And it's hot there in the summertime. It's really hot. Trump promised to fire Gary Gensler at BTC conference last night. Okay. Hey, Sandy. Deadpool, yes, Alpine run the skin. What? Yeah, those are great movies. Also, I didn't even know about the Extraction thing because I have not been paying much attention to X. I keep threatening to to Netflix. I keep threatening to cancel my Netflix account. Mission Impossible was really good. Yeah, I saw that too. That was the Mission Impossible movie was actually brilliant. It was brilliant. It was a movie that stood on its own. It's really well done. I liked it a lot. So I've seen those movies in the past few days. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, I've seen Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yep. Yeah, part 2 is going to be pretty incredible. They left that one on a nice cliffhanger. So, yeah. And the one thing I hate about those movies is they kill off characters that you kind of get to like. Spain beat the Aussies 9-5. In what? Garrett, in what sport? Yep. Yeah, Mission Impossible was excellent. Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't been watching many movies. I did tell you guys also the other movie was good. So, unfortunately today, movies have a woke quotient, okay? The WQ. They have a woke quotient. So, It shows you the DEI trend, the anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-male misandry films that are out there. So, for instance, all these videos, cultural appropriation, putting black actors in the role of Anne Boleyn when she was white, putting black actors in the role of Cinderella when clearly she's white. I know she's a fictional character, but she comes from the mind's imagination of Germans in the Black Forest in the Central European landscape when there are no black folks. So when that cultural appropriation takes place, that's woke. When a film has no white men in any positions of authority or show, that's why I can't watch the Star Trek. That one's just so off the charts, annoying and disgraceful. The only role that white men play in the Star Trek was at Discovery. The only white men are evil, gay, or an alien who's covered up their face. You don't see they're white. There are no white men. Only lesbians, black women, and other people of color are all the geniuses and the people who solve things and the people who know what's going on. That does not reflect reality, so why do we have this alternate universe? If it was a one-off, that'd be fine, but that's the norm with so many things. So all of these films deserve a woke quotient. I would give the Mission Impossible a woke quotient of maybe 3 out of 10. There's a little bit of woke in it, not too much. I would give the Eddie Murphy film, the Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley, a 1 out of 10 for woke. It was almost not at all woke. The only woke thing in it was a joke, which was actually funny early on when he went to the hockey game and the guy was with him, the other cop, and he was mocking the white guy. And he says, "You're mocking me." He says, "What if I mock you?" That would be wildly inappropriate. That was kind of woke. Yep. No, it's not just you, Elsa from Mullen. I'm going to start calling it the woke quotient and start rating films based on the woke quotient. Yep. There was a lot of woke quotient in the Extraction movies, but I suppose it was necessary in some ways. I'm not really sure why there were so many Indians in the film. Maybe because they filmed in Bangladesh. I don't know, but I assume it was Bangladesh. Who knows? The claim was in Dhaka. But there was a concerted effort there to limit the number of white guys in the film, basically to Chris Hemsworth, pretty much it. A couple of early actors who got whacked were white. Yep. Yeah, so I don't know. House of the Dragon. Yeah, I don't know what that is, Kevin. Everything's remake filled with propaganda. Most things are, yep. Quite astounding to hear some of the obstacles that some athletes had to overcome just to represent the country, especially the poorer, smaller countries. Yeah, no, that's why the Olympics are kind of a sham in many ways. Small, poor countries, athletes have no chance. If you can send your kids to America to attend university, then you're going to make it, but otherwise you're not going to do it. The action Extraction was brilliant, Charmaine. It was absolutely brilliant. There were great films. I'm not complaining. So Extraction 2, Mission Impossible, Axel Foley. What was the other one you said? Those are all very good films. Yeah, all very good films. Oh, yeah. House of the Dragon is a prequel game. Oh, okay, Game of Thrones. Oh, I didn't like Game of Thrones. They killed Sean Bean off, and that was the end of Game of Thrones for me. Nope. New Bad Boys movie was too bad. I haven't watched it, Hendo. Thank you for that. I'll have to check into it. NCIS has gone woke. Yep. People should be pissed that the FBI has a budget for making. They have a budget for making movies. Why are the FBI making movies other than training films? People are seriously pissed that Disney theme parks raise their price again and forces you to pay for lightning lanes or wait 3 hours for a 60-second ride. Well, I wouldn't go. Chris, are you going to watch Dreekis after Springboks played against Australia? Apparently, quite a few Springboks players are going to watch supporting with the ring. Is this Olympics? And Dreekis is in it? Well, I interviewed him, didn't I? Did I interview him? People should be pissed. Okay, Arctic, don't Disney do. What's this? Yeah, look, I haven't been to Disney since 1994. I went to Florida for Disney. And that's not true. I went to Disney Tokyo during the Rugby World Cup just because I was staying at the Hilton and it was right there. It was right there. Oh, geez, that's loud. Thank you, Elsa, for your membership. Yeah, no, I did go to the Tokyo Disney. It was lame. Like a third of the rides were shut down for repair. The place was packed. The lines weren't too bad. But I wandered around mostly. Wasn't that impressive. I was staying at a Hilton right there, so I went. So, yeah, but that was in 2019. So I went to Disney in 2019. Prior to that, I went to Disney World in Florida in 94. And then in 92, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 92. I went to Euro Disney. So I've been to all three of those. Never been to Disneyland in California. Vilma says Mr. America is also black in the trailer. Freelance Kate says, happy Sunday. Welcome, Freelance Kate. Where you been? Trump mean about beautiful Christians not having to vote again. We're going to fix that. What he meant is that you're not going to have to worry about people trying to undermine faith. He's going to fix it so that your religious liberties are protected. That's what he meant by it. It's being misrepresented by the left, claiming that it means you're never going to vote again. That's just ridiculous. Stephanie says, I don't watch movies anymore because woke and evil. Well, I used to stop watching because of that, but now there's been a spat of movies that are coming out that are not woke. But we're going to start giving woke quotient, WQs. If you have kids, Disney's a bucket list item, but I wouldn't go for more than one day per park and rather spend money at Universal Parks where the rides work. Yep. Petra says, die aarde praat met ons. Gaat vol voor politiek. Los ons net uit. Ons wet wanneer waaroor dit gaan. Dit is soos dit is politiek. Gaan ons dit Corwin. What is Corwin? I don't know what that means words. I haven't seen The Equalizer, but isn't The Equalizer being played by Queen Latifah now? Ugh. Tarantino. No, it's not Terrence Tarantino. No, Tarantino's not done anything recently. Universal and SeaWorld are still awesome. I haven't been to either one. Yeah, Jason Statham in The Beekeeper, yes and no. Yes and no. It was good, it was entertaining, but it was a lot of bullshit, and there was woke in it. Yep. There was woke in it. Yep. So, but it was good. It was good. I enjoyed The Beekeeper for a lot of reasons. Number one, it was a beekeeper. It was pretty cool. It's not Terrence. It's Vincent Tarantino. What's Tarantino's name? I can't think of it right now. It's not Vincent. It's not Terrence. Rides Universal kicked Disney. Well, Rides at Kings Island kicked Disney's ass in Ohio. Kings Island's got better. Cedar Park was better. I don't know if Cedar Park's still open. Let me look and see if Cedar Park is still open. Did it close? I think that might have been shut down. Cedar Point. Cedar Park. Cedar Point, excuse me, Cedar Point. It's still open. Wow. It's a 364-acre, 147-hectare amusement park. Opened in 1870. Second oldest amusement park in America. And it's still open. It's 72 attractions, 17 roller coasters. 3.44 million people went in 2022. It's been open for 154 years. Cedar Point. Yep. Sandusky, Ohio. Let's go to Kings Island, see what they say about Kings Island. Mason, Ohio. Kings Island. Kings Island, 364, same size park. 24 miles northeast of Cincinnati. Owned and operated by Six Flags. It was opened in 1972. 49 attractions, 15 roller coasters, and 3.18 million people in 2021. So, yep. Yep. So those are in Ohio. Both those kick the ass. And then there's Six Flags. Let's check out Six Flags. They're all over now. I never wonder why it was Six Flags. Six Flags, okay. Bowie, Maryland. Yep. Now there's one in Maryland too. Wow. Okay, why is there not showing me? I want the. Oh, come on. It's not showing me what I'm looking for here. There it is, Wikipedia. Six Flags Magic Mountain, okay. Thank you. Turn off that lawnmower. It's very annoying. That one's in California. Anyway, yeah, there you go. So, sorry to hear what happened with Erica. I don't see anything from Erica here. What did Erica say? Okay. Have you looked into the Pretoria school race? I have, Elsa, and I've reported on it. It appears to be cooked up bullshit. Based on investigative journalist report. Do I still have that open? I don't know if I do. That lawnmower is very annoying. I'm sorry. It really irritates the hell out of me. I don't think I have that story open anymore. But there's an investigative journalist who reported on it. And it appears what happened here is that black students intentionally said they were going to target white students. And they did a video on it, and they said that. And then these same students are the ones responsible for these claims. And the claims are that in the WhatsApp group, they were racist. But in the WhatsApp group, all that was being done, and we've seen screenshots of it, all that was being said is that the students were upset that something had happened. They didn't call anybody names. They just said it was unfair. And so this is being used to abuse them. The same thing happened to the administrator. The principal was forced to apologize for something she didn't do. There's a concerted attack on white students and on the white administrators by any time just claiming racism. And that's what malicious young black South Africans have discovered. All they have to do is cry racism and they get their way. And that's unfortunate because that means when real racists are around, nobody's going to believe you. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Yeah, I've talked about that story. I did a video on it, did I not? Maybe I didn't do a video. I'm trying to remember if I did a video on it. I mentioned it in my story on the media's obsession with race and identity, but I didn't do it. Oh, yeah. No, but I didn't do a specific video on that because I only have the one journalist report and there's not much information. So if I get more information on it, then I will do it. But just the one. Is Quentin here? Where are people seeing these chats here? I'm not seeing it. Okay, so I have looked into it, Elsa, yes, and I've reported on it. Conquer Win, but you didn't write Orwin, you wrote Corwin, Vilma. Whoever wrote that wrote Corwin, not Orwin. Yeah, Conquer Win, Orvin. Yeah, I got that. Thank you very much for that, Vilma, but that was written as Corwin. That's why I was confused. What is Corwin? Sandy's going to take her foot out of her mouth. Why are you taking your foot out of your mouth? What's going on? And Grasshopper's here. Sorry, I missed your report. Just so worrying is it all young children. Yeah, no, and that's what's happening. Gosh, I wish I did. I want to save that. Let me see if I saved it. So downloads. Where's my news folder at? Come on, news. By the way, I had to reload my software that makes my videos because. Oh, come on. Where's the darn thing at? Oh, that's nonsense. I had to redo because I updated the software and it said you only have a perpetual license to version 12. No, I pay for a perpetual license to this crap, not to version 12. Anyway, where's the news report? God bless it. Oh, this is annoying. Let me do this. Save page as. News24. Come on. Save page as. Okay. News stories. It's right there. You downloads news stories. Why can't I find that? Okay. It's not showing me the folder. Why is it not showing me my folder? What the hell's going on here? It's there. There it is, news stories. Why can't I find it? That's weird. Here it is. I think I have it. Let me see if I can open this up. Yes, open up with Firefox, please. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about that story since you're asking about it, okay? So this story, that annoying. Richard Wilkerson wrote this in the 25th. How white children and teachers being systemically targeted and abused at Pretoria High School. Sunday evening, he published an essay entitled The Gauteng Education Department Mishandles Yet Another Racism Debacle at Pretoria High School. He explained that 12 matric girls had been suspended from school last week in charge of serious misconduct. Addressed to their parents, their suspension letters, which are identical in every material respect, simply state, your daughter was part of a WhatsApp group that allegedly expressed inappropriate opinions. And they were suspended. And so which WhatsApp group? What inappropriate opinions? Suspension letters don't say. As for the rules which have allegedly been broken, the letters make reference to section numbers of the school's learner code which do not exist. Sections of the school's learner code of conduct and its social media policy which do not exist. Over the past few days, parents have tried in vain to obtain basic information from school about the upcoming disciplinary hearings. In addition to requesting the school to set out exactly what their daughters have allegedly done wrong, they've also asked for the following information. Full and precise details of each alleged allegation. The name of the individuals who raised the complaint, the name of the person who will be leading prosecution, the name of the chairperson, the name of each member of the committee, and complete and up-to-date copies of all relevant policies, none of which have been furnished. Any of that information. Next week, 12 girls will be expected to appear at the school to defend themselves against charges which have not been properly disclosed in front of a disciplinary panel whose members are all a mystery, all subject to provisions of school policies which do not exist. The parents have not been furnished with any information. Consequently, 12 girls will be expected to appear at a school to defend themselves against charges that they don't know are. and they have not been properly disclosed in front of a disciplinary panel whose members nobody knows who they are, and subject to provisions for non-existent school policies. This is completely unlawful. In terms of Regulation 5, subparagraph 3 of the misconduct of learners in public schools and disciplinary proceedings regulations, a learner who is accused of serious misconduct is entitled by law to be provided with a written notice that contains sufficient particularity of the date, place, and nature of the serious allegation. So they're violating law. On this basis alone, the disciplinary hearings proceed next week and are then challenged in court. They will be thrown out. Setting aside matters of procedural fairness, the key question obviously concerns the conversation which occurred in the relevant WhatsApp group. Did the girl say or do anything that deserves disciplinary action? Over the past week, he has assisted a number of parents whose girls are implicated in the matter and have reviewed screenshots of the conversation. Today, with their permission endorsement, he's publishing a summary of what was said in the WhatsApp group in order to demonstrate the allegations of racism are completely unfounded. The group text conversation, which occurred nearly a year ago, concerns an in-person altercation between a white girl and a black girl about school clothing rules. The black girl confronted the white girl. The white girl wasn't even talking to her, and told her that she felt the school's hair and uniform rules don't seem to apply to white girls to the same extent they apply to black girls. The white girl mentioned to her friends in the WhatsApp group that she'd been very upset by this remark, which she felt was unjustified. The white girl said that she had never been so uncomfortable in her life and that she wanted to cry. In her opinion, the rules of Pretoria School for girls were applied equally to everyone. Furthermore, if anyone should be upset by double standards, it was the white girls. After all, racial discrimination is explicitly applied in numerous contexts in South Africa, including provincial sports team selection and university admissions, and certainly not to the benefit of white people. Many of the girls in the WhatsApp group were then expressed frustration at the constant race baiting that they experienced at school. A number of girls expressed their belief that school would be a far happier place if every issue were not racialized and politicized. The conversation eventually moved on to the usual teenage preoccupations, and the girls discussing what time their next exam would end. That, in essence, is the conversation which has resulted in 12 girls being suspended from school and called to attend disciplinary hearings for serious misconduct weeks before their matric exams. And now they're worried about that. There's a mountain of evidence confirming that what the girl said in the WhatsApp group is factually correct. For instance, a 2019 civil rights organization AfriForum revealed that 56 white schoolgirls have been excluded from Gauteng netball teams, specifically and solely due to the fact that they were white. Similarly, researcher James Myberg documented as far back as 2011 how the University of Cape Town applies differing admissions criteria depending on which racial category the applicant belongs. For entry into a certain program, a black applicant needs 36 points on their matric out of 15 and 15 out of 30 points on the national benchmarking test. A colored applicant, 40 and 16. Indian or Chinese, 46 and 24. And a white student has to get 47 and 24, vice 36 and 15 for a black student. Yeah, anyway. In short, the suspended girls have absolutely nothing to hide or to be ashamed of. The statements in which they made WhatsApp about white people facing explicit racial discrimination when being selected for provincial sports teams or applying to university are not racist. These comments are simply reflect a factual reality of life in South Africa under the racist ANC. Yep. He says he needs to emphasize that at no point was the language used in the WhatsApp group even remotely racist or offensive. The girls simply expressed their opinion that the school enforced rules fairly and equally, and that they were demoralized by the toxic classroom societal environment to which they are subjected on a daily basis. Most shockingly of all, many of the girls who are facing disciplinary hearings made absolutely no contribution to the WhatsApp group. They just happened to be members of the group where the conversation occurred, and now they're being suspended and called racist. How is it that WhatsApp conversation ended up in the hands of authorities is not clear. It appears that someone started an anonymous Instagram account last week where it was leaked. Gauteng Education Department officials appeared on the scene very quickly, some might say suspiciously quickly, and assisted on the matter being escalated. Whatever the case, according to the girls' shoddy letters of suspension, the views expressed in the WhatsApp group are regarded by the school to be inappropriate opinions which were likely to cause spread of hate. Not only has the matter been completely blown out of proportion, but the levels of pettiness and unprofessionalism that have been exhibited by the Gauteng Education Department are extreme. Several of the 12 suspended girls are school prefects. Shortly after they were suspended, their parents were contacted by Mr. Bruin, one of the school's deputy principals, who asked them to drive to school and surrender the girls' prefect badges. Mr. Bruin was apologetic in making this request, explaining she was simply implementing instruction which she received from the Department of Education. To the credit, they all refused to do so. This petty denigration followed the appalling public humiliation which occurred last Friday morning when an official from the Gauteng department named Mr. Kogomo addressed students during the school's assembly. Mr. Kogomo asked the students whether the accused girls should be suspended and expelled from school. Students cheered in loud approval. This scandal was erupted just a few weeks before critical matrix. It might shock an outside observer, but it comes as little surprise to those who more closely acquainted with South African schools in general, and Pretoria High School girls in particular. On Monday evening, he posted the following tweet requesting parents and teachers aware of the bullying and harassment to confidentially contact him. He's been inundated with inbound communications. The most shocking input received was a 37-second video of a matrix student in Pretoria High School for girls stating quite explicitly that she and her friends intended to target white girls at some point in the year. I've chosen not to name the student, he said, but we're going to play this for you. Okay, well, I want to play. It used to play. I heard this thing. It won't play now. They've disabled it. Anyway, it says, good morning, guys. It's February 22nd. February, it's 2020. Yes, guys. Why hasn't anyone? Guys, I've not even asked a single white person to like bow down. And they giggle. I haven't. We've just forgotten. Guys, we just let them off the hook this year. I think it's just because we're in Matrix and there's no time. We are feeling sorry for them. We're going to let it go. But come April on Freedom Day, they will feel the wrath. Soja. Anyway, I don't know why I can't hear that video or play it. It was there before, but it's been disabled. Interesting. Anyway, let me see if I can get this to work in another browser. Copy. For some reason, let me try to reload the page. Yeah, the video is shocking, but I can't get to play. I don't know why. Copy. Let me try to put it in another browser and see if it works there. Paste and go. Okay. Nope, it's blocked. I heard it the first time. Actually, I heard the girl say the stuff. Anyway, yeah. And it goes on and on from there. They're being targeted. Does that answer the question? Well, it's not just them getting school. Now they're probably all under a lot of stress and pressure because they're being called racist and they've got matrix exams and who knows what's going to happen to them when they're taking the exam, be targeted. This is an intentional effort to destroy these girls so they perform poorly on the matrix so they don't get into school. Yeah, this is just more racism in South Africa. It's a shame. St. Mary's was first target, next Girls High, and all just get diversity experts on the payroll. Yep. The least attention you give it, the more you demonetize it, the more it has no power. Huh? What are you talking about? James, it's cold, windy. Okay, sorry to hear that. Elsa says, thank you. I hope that we go to school soon. Maybe I should cover that story. Maybe I can get in touch with that guy. Sick of racism in schools. They must learn and increase their pass rates. Exactly. That's what should be focused on. I also find hilarious that we want to prosecute children when we have politicians being blatantly racist. Yeah, exactly. Yep, African Idiot says if it's not white and black, it's not news. Very sad. Exactly, and that's why I made a video the other day about South African media being obsessed with it. Equalizer with Denzel was very good. Please don't make me type this again. Okay, with Denzel. Yeah, well, Denzel's a good actor, but the Equalizer was a British guy. Denzel's not British, so I'm not buying it. The DA is not going to swallow the ANC, says Oscar Mabuyane. I don't think the DA wants to swallow the ANC. I don't think anybody wants to swallow the ANC. That's just silly. All right, folks. How are we doing here? We're about an hour, 40 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up here. Always about hair. Yep. Always about the hair. Exactly. Yep. Anyway. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Thanks a lot. Appreciate being here. Have a good evening, and I'll see you tomorrow unless something breaks today. Thanks for being with me. And thanks to those who tuned in for Rugby at Senate. We had a huge crowd for yesterday's game at Loftus. I think 12,000 views on that, which is more in line with what it should be. So maybe some of the censorship is eased up a bit. I'm not going to hold my breath, but hopefully it has. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for being here. God bless, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, wherever you find yourself around the planet. Cheers, cheers.